All right, welcome everyone to the iNASCAR Racing Series. We are here tonight at Darlington for what will be a fabulous race. Thanks for tuning in to the IWM Broadcast Network. I'm Rick Souza here with my co-broadcaster Sal Nicosia. And Sal, I'll get it. I promise you, I will get it.
You're getting it.
So this is Throwback Weekend. So not only will the viewers see that on Sunday at Darlington, but here on Thursday night they get a preview of just some fabulous race schemes these guys are running.
Yeah, and there's some really good-looking race cars out on track tonight. We'll talk through them as we go into the broadcast here, but some favorites that you'll see and a few that are kind of out of left field that maybe you wouldn't expect. So be fun to kind of break those down and talk a little bit about them as we watch some pretty intense racing here at Darlington tonight.
Yeah, we've got about 5 or so minutes left of practice, and then we'll go on to qualifying and a driver's meeting. But we've got a lot to cover here in the pre-race. We'll talk about where we stand with the current driver standings inside of the iNASCAR Racing Series, just who's won, who's where we're at, and then we'll kind of go through a little bit about what's happening with the different paint schemes we'll see here at Throwback Weekend.
Yeah, this one's going to be fantastic. I mean, you're going to need all the practice you can get here at Darlington. Ripping that top wall, this egg-shaped track, it's a funny configuration that was really kind of happened by happenstance. I don't know if anybody else has seen that video circulating around this week, but the story of the track shape is an interesting one, and it affects the way the race unfolds each and every time we race on it.
Well, go ahead and tell us the story, because
I teased it and then I stopped. Well, the way it worked was back in the day, the gentleman who owned the property adjacent to the track had a minnow pond on that property, and when the track owners told them they wanted to purchase that from him and bulldoze over it and put a racetrack there, he said, no, please redesign this corner of the track. I want my minnow pond, please, please, please. So they did. And that is why there is a narrower corner here at Darlington than the traditional oval shapes. So who knew? A minnow pond gave us some of the best racing in stock car history, all by happenstance.
You know, it seems a lot of these tracks, especially at that age of like Darlington, there was some uniqueness, something that made it special. You think of Rockingham, or where we were last week at Martinsville. Everything was just unique to, it just made it special. You know, we're going to Darlington, the Lady in Black, the Darlington stripe. You have all those interesting features that come with racing at this track. You know, that kind of that odd shape you saw with the high banks at Rockingham as well, which is not far from Darlington. It's only an hour or so away to get to Rockingham.
Yeah, two totally different types of tracks too, right?
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
One to the other. But you're absolutely right. It's super interesting to kind of break down the history of some of these tracks and just how unique the circumstances are around them and how they came into existence. This is one that's a favorite of mine to watch at, but I can't wait to see racing at Rockingham coming up here too in a couple of weeks.
Let's go through what the viewers will see tonight in tonight's Goodyear 200.
Yeah, so 84 degrees, 14% humidity, clear skies, winds blowing about a mile an hour. This race is 147 laps. Stage break will be at lap 49. We're running those throwback paint schemes, but there will be no quick repairs. So any damage they do, we'll stick with them all night long. 6 sets of tires, 1 on the car, 5 in the pits. They'll run 75% fuel. There'll be 3 green, white checker flags. And yeah, 3 green, white checker flag restarts. Interesting thing here today, I think, is part of it is going to be the track temperature, which sitting right now is 118 degrees, Rick. And we know that the Lady in Black likes to chew tires up. So it'll be interesting to see how that track temperature affects maybe some strategy and some tire health tonight.
Oh, yeah, when you start adding in that 118 degrees, that's going to blister up some of these Goodyear tires. On top of that, you're going to wind up with fuel strategy. So at 75% fuel, that really puts these drivers at somewhere about, our estimates here in the booth is somewhere between 48 and 55 laps before they'll need to 54 laps when they'll be back in the pits to get some more of that Sunoco racing fuel. Now the challenge here though is obviously a balance between, you know, I can stay out here for 55 laps, but do I really want to, knowing that you've got, you know, you run the risk of blowing a tire out.
Yeah, and it gets really hairy at the longer you go, because not only are you concerned about blowing a tire out, but just as the tire wears down, you know, the car's going to start sliding and it's slippery out there. Just the chance of you getting yourself up into the wall and taking a chance in a part of the track that makes you uncomfortable. Darlington has a lot of those places that can make you uncomfortable. So it'll be interesting to see how far guys want to push tonight, and what their strategies might be as this one unfolds.
Especially in the places that we'll be watching is, you know, as they come out of turn two, that's always the hairiest part of the track. You're slinging it in there pretty fast as you're coming off the front stretch into one. You're carrying that speed up to the apex, and then as you thought you figured it out as you try to get an exit out of two, but because of the way this back stretch is set up, it kind of comes up and can bite you right there. And well, that's where that Darlington stripe happens all the time.
Yeah, and it's one of these tracks where it's not a muscle memory track. You can't just go around and rip the same lap over and over again. It's constantly a dynamically changing surface and a dynamically changing experience for these drivers tonight. It'll be fun to see just how far they want to push down into turn three. That's where a lot of the passing happens. It's a lot of where guys try to outbrake one another, but it's also where that stripe comes into play, and a lot of cars get wadded up.
Well, we are currently qualifying is underway. Oops, that's not good. Qualifying is underway here. And
let's see. 81?
Yeah, that's Jordan Wenzel currently qualifying on track. Yep.
And Jordan having himself a heck of a year in the iNRS NASCAR Racing Series right now. He's second place in the overall driver standings.
Yeah, in fact,
he's got a win to his name already this year.
Let's go ahead and bring up currently the standings so far.
Oh, there you go.
So right now with on the race to the chase after our event last week at Martinsville, kind of the standings are a little bit jumbled. Prior to that, Martinsville was not kind to a lot of drivers.
Yeah, and it's not an easy place to get around. We did a lot of trivia last week because we spent a lot of time under yellow. And it's just one of those places when things get sideways, it gets sideways in a hurry. Can't really fault these guys. This is iRacing, but we saw the pros have a hard time as well. So a tricky place to be no matter what level you're at.
So right now you've got a number of drivers. 5 drivers have punched their tickets into the to the chase, which is, we've got plenty of time. There's about 22 or so. I think that's what the number is. A bunch of races left, but already 5 are on their way. A number of drivers you've seen and you've heard us call their names repeatedly. That's Eric Jeffers, Tyra Lem, Vernon Broadbeck. They've been at the front. And then you can look towards that cut line, and already you can see that those drivers between, from 14th really to 20th are only separated by, less than 20 points. Any good showing any week, you can get out of the basement and wind up somewhere in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, and there's lots of opportunities to score points here, and especially at Darlington. Guys might want to decide if they're going to race to win tonight or if they're going to race their way around here for points, especially those that are hovering around that cut line, Rick.
Absolutely. All right, so right now qualifying is underway. Let's just double check here who we've got on track.
Oh, Big John.
Big John Drudris is out there.
Ripping around in that Jeff Gordon throwback scheme, the one that William Byron will run this weekend at Darlington. One of my favorites growing up, so I can't complain about this one. 10 out of 10, chef's kiss for me. I know John's a big Byron fan, so made a lot of sense to see him in that ride tonight.
Oh, yeah, maybe a little bit of a technology issue there, but he is done. Garrett Walden.
Oh, this is a fun one. The
Yep.
country time.
Unfortunately, Garrett did tag the wall there, and so that will kind of mess up his qualifying effort.
Yeah, it's such a delicate system in iRacing. For those of you who are not familiar, any kind of like significant hit into the wall is going to make it's going to invalidate your qualifying lap. So it's difficult to try to push it and decide how far you want to push it, given the risk you're taking of just getting up there a little bit and causing problems for yourself.
So we've got 40 possible positions for tonight's event. You've got 43 drivers who brought their cars to the track, and fortunately, uh, 3 will go home.
Yeah, these iNRS racing races are just packed to the gills with competitors. I'll tell you, week over week over week, it is an interesting thing to see these drivers have to qualify their way in, and it adds another element of that, season championship point chase where if you're not good at a particular track, you need to make sure you're racing your way in on qualifying.
So right now you're watching On Track. This is Bradley Reese. And that last lap was enough to move him out of the basement and get the 40th spot. He may or may not keep that because there are some drivers who have already paid for their charter, just like in NASCAR. They'll get a spot. So we'll see how it all goes. Some drivers are open racers, some are charters, and so we'll wait um, for admin to tell us exactly who's in and who's not out and who's out, and we'll go from there. But right now we've got a 5-minute break while the admins kind of figure out all that, do that ciphering to figure out who's in and who's not, and also conduct their drivers meeting for tonight's Goodyear 200. So with that, let's kind of talk about the keys to tonight's race.
There's going to be lots of keys here tonight. Whittling it down to just 3 is difficult sometimes, but yeah,
We'll start
saving
with these
tires.
3. Yes.
Saving tires, Rick. That's going to be the big one, I think.
Well, like we talked about, and we'll get we'll get race time track temps, but from the pre-race, what we saw, 118 degrees trackside, and this is an old pavement, which means it is a cheese grater. It just wears these tires down, um, and certainly that plays havoc with these drivers, especially where here your fastest lap around is at the wall, and there is a very narrow margin of error here.
Yeah, and there is a tire saving strategy you can employ here at Darlington in air quotes. It's still putting your car through the gauntlet, but maybe something we'll see drivers get after. But probably up at that wall will be where most competitors choose to be.
The other is going to be long run speed, and what we mean by that is this is a track where we expect to see long green flag runs of racing. We may only see a handful of cautions. We ran a race here last night, and we with 150 laps, we had 3 cautions, of which only 2 came in the last 5 laps of the race. So we expect lots of green flags time and long runs, and so how Sal just indicated, how you save those tires can affect where are you quicker at the back end of the run, you quicker in the middle, are you just basically hanging on? So long run speed is going to be critically important.
Yeah, and I mean, this is one where if you're side by side with another driver for an extended period of time, on a long run, you're not gonna be for long because it's gonna cheese grade you out, and your tires are gonna look like mush underneath you. Making sure you're taking care of your stuff, though, is really, really the key to achieving that long run speed. So those two kind of going hand in hand, but it'll be interesting to see just how these guys try to get up and out and away from one another, which really takes us into our third key to the race, Rick.
Absolutely, and that is track position. So when we are able to bring you the grid, which we are waiting on with bated breath, we'll be able to tell you who's going to line up where. And if this is a pretty clean race with not a lot of yellows, this is probably one of the most difficult tracks to pass on.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's just such a crucial part of this race to qualify well. Because if you're up front, you know, going to be harder to lose out. Your fate is in your own hands in terms of how hard you want to push your car and take damage and run your tires down to the point where maybe you do start losing track time, track position. But going to be a tough one for guys to really be competitive and pass here tonight.
Absolutely. So we'll see how that all works out for these drivers. We just got about a minute or so of the drivers meeting, and then we'll get on to our starting grid. We really looking. I'm looking forward to this. These guys are consistently some of the best drivers out there. This is an amazing league that we are privileged to bring to you each and every Thursday night. So, and again, it's a preview of what you'll see on Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. I'm really happy that we get to do this. That the throwback scheme. It's a great weekend for the sport and great weekend for these drivers on here on iRacing in the iNRS league.
All right, just about 30 seconds left or so, and we'll bring you the start of the Goodyear 200 here at Darlington.
Any favorite throwback schemes that you have, Rick, on the
Man,
track or not?
I do happen to love that Kellogg's, the old Terry Labonte
Yeah,
Hendrick. That's one of my favorites.
that sure is a good one. I mean, there's some really beautiful cars that are going to be out and
Yeah,
about this weekend.
I
That
think
Kodak car,
I was about to say I
that's
think I saw an Ernie Irvan throwback. So
yeah, that's the one for me. Not too much can top that. It's simple. It's yellow. More yellow race cars. Yeah, really cool stuff here this weekend.
all right, so it looks like we have got the end of that period. We're about to bring up the grid once we get some drivers populating it. We'll see how it goes. Oh, I think we're gonna get. Oh my goodness! Let's see how this. Here we go. That's a good angle right there.
Yeah,
All
grid
right,
now.
so that means we do have a grid. Let's go ahead and bring that up.
All right, yeah, starting in the front row, Dakota LaRue and John DeRugeris on the front row. Alex Murphy and Lucas Whitehead bringing in the second row. Ty Bostic and Austin Wheeler in row 3. Tyler Lem and Jordan Wenzel, row 4. Paul Irvin and Corey Bunch, row 5. And Garrett Walden and Corey Ennis bringing it up in row 6.
Starting in 13th position is Eric Jeffers with Christopher Cash on the outside. Simon Magin is in 15th with Jonathan Varanauskas in 16th. Josh Douglas is in 17th with Michael Whitley Jr. in 18th. Caleb Lamb is in 19th with Vince Burns to the outside in 20th. Robin Maldonado is in 21st with Clark Franz in 22nd. Matt Crockett in 23rd and Jay Schultz in 24th.
We've got Joe Mosow in 25th, John Ledger in 26th, Tony Japs 27th, Gary Wells in 28th, Richard Mills 29th, Austin Walton in 30th, Ron Fitting in 31st, Jeff Ramsdell in 32nd, Mike Campeggio in 33rd, Mike Wheel in 34th, Lucas Grotman in 35th, Scott Thomas 36th place, Jacob Mosow in 37th, Joe Darnell in 38th, Shane Trotter bringing it in 39th, and Bradley Reese in that coveted 40th position, making the cut.
All right, that is your grid for tonight's race. And the lights are off on our pace car. That only means one thing. We will be going live momentarily here. So Dakota LaRue is running in that 18 in that Hooters Toyota. Not really a throwback per se, but Hooters always is.
Yeah, no longer a sponsor in the Cup Series or in the sport, but always good. They always had some good Hooters racing schemes in their
Yep.
time.
All right, underway here at Darlington.
And a good jump to the lead there. Track position so crucial, like you said, as he'll leave the field behind just a bit here. DeRugeris not getting the jump start he wants to this race, losing 2 spots in a hurry.
As these drivers make their way through that first lap, kind of feeling how it is under power here. They're side by side a little bit farther back there. You see the 22 of Ty Bostic, but he's got that 33 dropped right in front of him with Lucas Whitehead in that very colorful Chevrolet.
Yeah, that is one that you cannot miss out there on the track tonight. I don't know who that is or what kind of throwback that is. That's a Dale Earnhardt throwback?
It is. It's a 2000 Dale Earnhardt Peter Max.
Wow. Yes, indeed. 33, Lucas Whitehead. Good pick. We got some action all over the place.
Yeah, we're going to. Yeah, you can see already here we are, lap 3. The front 10 or so have kind of gone right now to a single file. Let's kind of drop back a little bit here. Oh, a bit of contact right there. The 15
wall
goes down. Does it bring out a caution? It does not. So this track is kind of self-cleaning in a way. I mean, you'll end up with the car pointed in the right direction very often, and it will funnel you down to that inside retaining wall, which goes a long way in not forcing a caution to come out.
Yeah, and there's a big apron, right? So even if you do get down in that wall, you're so far off the racing surface here that not too many issues. And that's another part of this track that's super unique, as we see guys dip and dive and try to get away from that wall here again. You know, that checkered white line you see kind of separates the corner here, and it really narrows things out at the tops of the track here.
Yeah, one of these things these drivers have got to do is get a handle on corner exit out of 2, because just like you saw the 79, he ran a very huge opportunity there. He went up close, and it wound up, you know, having to manhandle that car off that wall, and in doing so, he was able to bail out on that apron, which that's, you know, fortunate you can do that here at Darlington.
Yeah, and it's a tough place to try to check up too, because a lot of drivers are going to push through that corner. And if you check up, you're going to cause a big problem. So, especially early on in the race where things are really tight here.
Yep. See, the 59 of John DeRugis has kind of slipped back. He was able to qualify in second, but he's kind of slipped back to seventh. But of course, this is a long race. There is 49 laps to our first stage, which they will close the pits at lap 47, I believe, and then we'll finish up at lap 49. But you know, there's 147 laps. So there's plenty of time to figure things out.
It's definitely one of those tracks that's so different qualifying to race time, right? When you have other cars around you, there's a certain level of pressure added on where you're trying to run your way to the front without running somebody down or out or off the track at the same time too. So I think John's got a good idea here. Maybe not trying to fall back, but taking his time and really making sure he understands exactly where he can push his machine here tonight, make the most of this race for himself.
So jumping back up, we talked earlier about we only have 40 slots here, and drivers, not everybody makes the race. We got 3 drivers who unfortunately did not qualify. That was the number 4 of Joseph Darnell, the 26 of Eddie Musso, and the 60, and that 60 was driven by Dan Hughes. Kind of was looking forward to the 26. The 26 was running a 2004 Casey Kane Mopar bling bling scheme. Unfortunately, they did not make the cut.
That's unfortunate. That'd have been a good looking car to see out here tonight alongside some of these other guys.
Well, that's Alex Murphy right there in the 31, running a very familiar paint scheme.
That is the 2000 Mike Skinner Lowe's scheme.
Yep.
I see Lowe's and I think Jimmy Johnson always, but I love that he threw it back to Mike Skinner. We were talking about at the beginning of the broadcast, you know, there's always some really obvious go-to throwbacks, but I love that this one is kind of a little bit more obscure, and I love it. It really fits the shape of the car. I've noticed that about these next-gen cars is when teams try to apply some old school schemes, it's difficult to do, you know, copy and paste, where the body lines have changed so much over the years, and this one really fits on there well.
So like we talked about during the pre-race, we've got approximately 50 or so laps. It's 147 laps to finish this race. So that logically, if we were to stay green, translates into 2 pit stops at 50 and then at 100. And you should be able to squeak out the balance of the race. Now, will it happen that way? I don't know. We'll see. Lady Luck always plays a factor here. It is Darlington, so
Well, its other nickname is Too Tough to Tame. So there's a reason that there's so much difficulty. The nicknames kind of give it away a little bit because it is one of those that is not simple.
why don't we ride on board with Alex Murphy for a lap or so and just kind of get a feel for just how he is approaching this track.
Yeah, and it's so technical here. You see him dipping down below that little dotted white line there, trying to just make sure he can get back up and use as much of that top side and carry the speed. Not an easy place to be comfortable at all. That wall gets big in a hurry.
You can see him laying off the throttle for pretty much all the way through 3 and really to the apex of 4 before he's back on the throttle. He's downshifted into 4th. There he back up to 5th.
Making sure you're hitting your shift points here is a big deal. Carrying that speed through, even without hitting the throttle in 3 and 4, is super, super important because that's a situation where if you're trying to overdrive the car, you could burn the tires right off. Looks like the leader's coming around on the lap car already.
Yep. That's Dakota LaRue up there leading, and I'm not quite sure who that lap car is. We'll know in a moment.
That's the 59. I don't know who it is, but it's the Jeff Gordon Jurassic Park ride scheme.
Oh, that's going to be John Ledger.
There you go. I think he was involved in that early incident there where he got up in the wall and had to take a trip down pit road early. But love that car. Hendrick has never lost a race in a movie-themed car.
Oh, well, actually, you know what? That's Chris Cash. For some reason, I thought John Ledger was running that paint scheme in the 19. We'll just so yeah,
there might be more than one.
There are more than one. So the 19 is running that paint scheme, but then so is the 69 of Chris Cash. So there's a story behind that car, right? Is that the All-Star race in Charlotte?
I believe so. It was the right around the time the Jurassic Park ride came out. Yeah, that was before my time. I don't remember that one as well as others may, but I've seen that car up close that one sits, I think, at the Hendrick Museum. It's really unreal to see a dinosaur sticking out of the hood of something. Not something I had on my bingo card. Very cool though. More movie cars. Bring them back.
Yep, that car is affectionately known as the T-Rex car.
You see him hanging in there, even despite having to hit the pits. He's trying to get his lap back the hard way here.
Yep. Ray Everham basically said, if you ask him, they ran one race, they dominated the race, and then it was banned by NASCAR. That is true.
Yep. I'm sure that car was not cheated up at all that night.
Not one bit. No.
Not one bit.
Yeah, that was, I think it was the 2017 or 2018 All-Star race.
Yeah, it's always fun. It's the All-Star. All-Star race really cool at North Wilkesboro, but I do miss it.
I'm sorry, I was way off. 1997. Wow, I missed that one.
Wow. These guys are just chasing each other's tail out here for the lead, or for the. Oh, and we got a caution out.
Caution is out. Looks like Mike Compaggio was involved. See him restarting there, unfortunately. Possibly Scott Thomas as well.
Always tough when the cautions come out here. You know it's going to be a big hit.
Yeah, let's go back and see just what happened to Mike. Oh, that happened just, let's back that up just a little bit. There's some contact with what looks like to be like the 88 there.
Yeah. Just a little squeezing around as they're trying to find their homes here in the top and the bottom line, getting side by side.
The first caution comes out, lap 21.
Yeah, just ripping that tar line, but the 88 looks like he's getting a little little coming up and coming down. It's one of those racing deals where trying to get that exit on that corner and
That's
can
for
never
sure.
work out for both.
Oh, contact with the 50 as well. Punched the 5 around.
That's like we were talking about before the race too. It's a tough place to check up in any of these corners because drivers are coming around and there is not a lot of time to react.
That was the 50 of Martin Giroux that had some contact there as well. So first caution flies here. Lap 21 of 147, about almost just a little shy of halfway to our stage break. But as we would expect, we got a good number of drivers who are making their way down onto pit road.
Yeah, not a surprise here, as drivers are pushing at this first part of the race to really understand, where they can be fast and how comfortable they are running their lines. If we have 6 sets of tires, including the one they started with, probably a good idea if you can get a fresh one. That this might be the time. See the leader staying out along with a few others, so people confident in a few of these drivers confident in their ability and the way that they were able to manage their stuff early. It is still fairly early, only 22 laps complete. So. Yeah, look at that flood of throwback schemes coming off pit road.
All right, so that puts us with the top 7 drivers chose not to pit.
Be interesting to see the dynamic on 20 lap older tires. We talk about there being a level of difficulty for passing here, but when you got fresher stuff, it can make it a little bit more accessible to squeak around the competition.
And with only 7 drivers choosing to stay out, that puts the bulk of the field behind them with fresh rubber. If you look at the number 8 position, Ty Bostic is the first driver on fresh rubber. So really 8, 9, and 10, right there are going to be on your tail.
And it's going to be a little bit of a challenge for these guys to kind of hold them off. But there's enough of them here where it feels like it won't be too much of an issue for these leaders to stay leaders. But that's what makes it so exciting. The track position, so coveted. If you can make that move and you want to be aggressive, being aggressive early can have its benefit in these types of deals that we're looking at right now.
So it does look like the track temperature has not abated. It is 117, 118 degrees.
Yeah, not a cloud in the sky as that track gets hot. As they get ready, pace car is off.
Dakota LaRue is your control car.
Green flag and away we go. LaRue getting a good jump. Ooh, somebody missed a shift there. Gets shuffled out.
I think that was Tyro Lem in the 99.
Yeah, that's going to unfortunately
missed a shift.
Yeah, that's going to unfortunately put him right to the back. That's rough.
Yep, absolutely. Not the restart that 99 was looking for or needed.
No, and only a little bit of contact there. Good on him for being able to notice the issue as early as he did and jump down out of the way before something a little more severe was caused. But back up front, Dakota LaRue is giving them a run for their money. Fresh tires, old tires, it doesn't matter. He's way out and away right now ahead of the field.
Ty Bostic is the first car on new tires, and he went from 8 to 5 just like that within a couple laps.
Yeah, it's a quick jump. Making the most of that track position play. As we have cars 2 and 3 wide in some parts of the track there. Oh, and car down. Sliding across the track into the wall.
That will bring out another caution. I think that's Jonathan Baranowski's possibly. And that's what it is in that number 9.
Yeah, looks like he took quite a wild ride there.
That scheme, you'll think, well, wait a minute, that M&M's car looks familiar, but actually this is a 2004 Elliott Sadler version.
Everybody again, pulling out from deep in their pockets. I like it. No Kyle Busch, right to Elliott Sadler.
All right, let's see what happened to Jonathan here. Let's see if we can bring it back up. Well, we're just talking about being 3 wide, and there you have it.
Yeah, that's a difficult situation to be in.
Saw the 51 beating and banging. Then he's door to door with the 12.
Gotta think there. You can't stick your nose where it don't belong in that situation. And going 3 wide is a tough thing to do at Darlington, and you see how that works out right here.
Yeah, some pretty major damage to the nose of that 9. I'm not sure how that's going to play out for him. This is one of those tracks that you alluded. What's that?
That thing is caved in.
Yeah. Well, the point was what you had made. You had said earlier. When you're coming off one of these corners at the speed you're getting, no contact like that where your nose in is good. It's a bad thing.
Yeah, it's just a product of where you can pass on track, how hard you can push it, and not being able to make mistakes in those corners, in that, especially in 3 and 4. But that is where you get, 3 wide action is a choice. That's a and it's a tough one, but you got to make those moves when you can, if the opportunity is there.
All right, so lap 28 as we work our way towards our first stage break. Well, the only stage break at lap 49. Again, the pits will close at 47.
Yeah, 2 quick cautions here. I mean, I don't see too many folks I can't imagine too many folks are going to jump down and come back down pit road.
Number of drivers are currently in the pits making some repairs.
And they're chit-chatting about that restart as well. Definitely missed a shift there, the 99.
Someone is reporting that Eric Jeffers in the 12 may have some toe link damage. We'll have to see just what damage he was involved in that incident. Nothing is jumping out on that 12 at the moment, but sometimes it's pretty obvious when there's toe link damage.
Yeah, it's the damage you can't see that sometimes can hurt the worst. That wheel might be cocked off inside of the cockpit there, and while you can't see some of the body damage, it could be a handful inside the car.
All right, we're about to get this race back underway. Again, Dakota LaRue is the control car.
Dakota LaRue got to be happy as a clam right now out here in front, avoiding any of these issues, just really setting the pace for this race with some of the lap times he's put down so far tonight.
All right, Alex Murphy to the outside as we're about to get this race back underway. Corey Bunch right there in the Flying J right behind.
And they are stacked up and ready to go. LaRue out to a big jump as they get back across the start-finish line. Woo! Got a lot of speed on that restart. No misshifts or anything. We see Jay Schultz heading down to the apron here. Got a little too hot to handle.
Lots of 3 and 4 wide coming through turn 2. That is not a good thing.
No, that is, you make a choice racing around your competitors and deciding you want to go that wide. Not going to be a popular move amongst your fellow driver to make that decision here at Darlington, especially this early in the race.
Looking back through the field here, we've got lots of 2 wide racing here at Darlington. You can see it there. Again, that's the predicament as you come out of 2 and you're multi-car wide. Scary.
Yeah, it's not easy. Just that wall gets really gigantic in a real hurry, and if you're running side by side with somebody, you have even that much more to be afraid of not wanting to get into them, putting them and yourself at risk for anything serious. There's some battling going on through the field.
I'm not sure who that was that zipped out. There it is. That's the Country Time Lemonade car that just flew by us. He took full advantage of the apron there.
Yeah, there is a line you can run and take some advantage of that apron. Oh, Jacob Musa went down onto the bottom there. And I don't think he's doing it on purpose on the backstretch.
Some of these drivers have set blistering speed. Ty Bostic put up a 29.82 there. That's the fastest lap so far.
Paul Irvin is doing this, is running this line where he is entering on that low apron side.
John Drugis has made his way back up to third.
John D getting a feel for that car now. He feels his feet underneath him.
And Alex Burke, Michael Whitley Jr. there in that McDonald's car. See that 94. He's sporting that 1996 Bill Elliott McDonald's paint scheme.
Yeah, that is one of the better looking ones out here tonight. And I do love me a double cheeseburger, so maybe a little partial to that one. Again, it's all about the body lines on these throwbacks. That one fits pretty good. Oh. You can hear some of these guys hollering over the radio. It's fun. It's fun to hear them react as they get not as they make contact, but just as they get tight with each other, trying to communicate, you know, hey, I'm here. Don't forget, you got a car on the outside or on the inside.
Well, I am just amazed that we are here. We are lap 36, and we are still running too wide here. These guys are not giving up the ghost. They're still pounding away.
Yeah, in part, you have to think it's the combination of folks who decided to stay out on the older tires and some who decided to come down and get fresh ones. And it's just a natural shift of leaders as they're moving their way through the field.
Well, speaking of that, new leader Ty Bostic takes over the lead here, lap 37, with John DeRudris in second. These guys both pitted on lap 21 or so. Those drivers who stayed out, Dakota LaRue, Alex Murphy, they've fallen back to third and fourth, as well as a number of other drivers. We are seeing the 59 car of John DeRudris blinking a little bit. He's got a potential connection issue.
Better get off the Starlink internet because he's running a good race right now, and he's not going to want to lose out on this one tonight. Yeah, it's all about that long run speed, Rick. You talk about, you know, guys who are dropping back a little bit, guys who are fighting for the front. You know, the short runs are great. It's great to have nice new tires, but it's in the end, it's all going to be about that long run speed. So it'll be fun to watch, see how they react in the next handful of laps here as the tires start to go away more.
Yeah, so sometime around lap 45, maybe, you'll see some major, maybe 46, somewhere in that. We'll see some impact. The drivers will begin to feel as that temperature and that wear will affect those tires. But at that point, you know, they're going to come in for a stage break, so they can burn it off.
Yeah, the big push here on the long run is going to be after that stage break. Making those moves and setting yourself up here. There's still some too wide racing going on through the field. My goodness, these boys are having at it tonight here in Darlington.
Oh yeah, jumping back, you can see this whole field is dominated by some too wide. This is like 14th and back. That's Vince Burns, Jordan Wenzel. Oh, spinning right there.
Getting around.
But the caution did not fly. They kept it going.
Wow. It looked like he almost did a full 360 there, coming back around on forward facing.
That's the 55 of...
That happened quick.
Vince Burns. I don't know why I blanked out of his name. Vince, we called your name 1,000 times.
Yeah, the 55 of Vince Burns there. Just took a little bit of a ride. Well, not too much damage.
He's in that red and blue paint scheme. A bit different this time.
I'll be honest with you. I am having a hard time keeping up with who is where and who is what with the throwbacks. Oh, three wide.
Wide. Not good. That's the 96. Trapped in the middle.
Oh, man. You got brown in your fire suit if you're running like that. That is tough. My goodness. I mean, how they make that work, I don't know. Ooh, 55 making contact there.
Yep.
Is he going to keep it off the bottom wall? He is.
Does, but there's a lot of damage. that is developing on that 55. The side damage on that 96. A lot of contact amongst these drivers with just a handful of laps before that stage break.
There was a lot of beating and banging there as they were 3 wide or before that contact. A little bit of contact. Oh, and more contact for the 55 as he gets up there with the 79, the 78.
79 slammed the wall. That's Scott Thomas.
Oh, and it is getting hairy. That damage on the 55, it has to be affecting the drivability of that car.
Yeah, that right front looks a little, it looks a little bad.
Yeah, and they're going to shuffle their way around him here as he's just trying to hang on here.
Looks like he may have some toe link issues on that right front because he's not able to get through these corners.
Yeah, just trying to stretch it out to the stage break, I would imagine. Not go down a lap here so we can get it looked at in the pit.
Well, back up front, Ty Bostic and John D have kind of checked out a little bit. Let's bring up that gap information. Yep, they've got nearly 4 seconds of space between themselves and the next competitor with just 4 laps to go before the end of the stage.
Yeah, and even the gap between the two of them has changed, where John has been able to make up some good time on Ty here as they're making their run back around. These guys are in a class of their own tonight. John's going to have to spill the beans to me on what the secret is here at Darlington, because I sure haven't figured it out.
Now, both these guys, John DeRugis is currently sitting 11th in points, and Ty Bostic is sitting 13th. So these guys are both, getting those extra stage points. That's a huge, huge win for these guys.
Yeah, going to be a boost to keep them up and above that cut line. The more points you get, the better, and they're doing it tonight. Love that 22 of Ty Bostic, too, that Batman throwback scheme. Looks good. Looks good leading.
Looks good. It sure does. Looks fast.
It sure does.
All right, pits are closed. Just 2 laps to go before we recall this stage.
Yeah, hopefully not too much. Hopefully not too much other unsavory business happening throughout the rest of the field. Still a couple of cars running 2x2. But this field has, I'll tell you what, this field has gapped out in a pretty serious way. Small pockets of cars running with one another, but if you know your way around this track, you are out and ahead of your competitors right now.
All right, looks like this is the last lap before the stage break.
Starting to see the damage build up on some of these cars here too as I scroll through the field. That right front of a lot of these cars is just absolutely getting beat up as they do their very best to keep it off the wall.
All right, stage 1 is complete. Expect we'll see that caution fly. There it is.
Yeah, to the relief of quite a few drivers, I would imagine. Things looked like they were getting tough to handle there toward the end. Not a bad track to have a comp caution at.
Nope, they'll need it, and especially for those drivers who were beating and banging, I'm sure that they want to get into the pits and get a feel for just what condition their race car is in.
And it looked like Vince Burns, who had been struggling there for a while, ended up going a lap down as well. So hopefully he can get himself fixed up in the pits and get that lap back as the first car a lap down here. Try to make it happen.
All right, number of drivers picked up some good stage points here. Ty Bostic wins that stage.
Like we talked about, invaluable to get those points at this part of the year. Going to want as many of them as you can get. A win's better, but as many points as you can rack up get you above that cut line.
Those drivers who are on the lead lap make their way down onto this long pit road that kind of wraps around the infield.
This is an old school pit road. It takes up most of the track on this front stretch here. Fans get a great view of the pit boxes. It's an intimate experience. Just reaching over, you can kind of see everything that there is to see right from the grandstands in Darlington. Looks like most cars electing to take 4 tires and fuel. Nobody getting too brave on a 2-tire stop here.
Not at this stage. This is really a chance to get a do-over. Looking for that 55 of Vince Burns. He is still in the pits.
Yeah, that front, there's a lot of damage on that car, Rick.
Yeah, well, being that he was a lap down, he probably had to come in on the second round.
See if I can.
And that's why he is kind of holed up there, as through the magic of iRacing, the iRacing fairies will hop out and help to make some repairs.
If only it was like that in the railroad.
That's right.
Yeah, that car got beat and banged up a little bit. But let's see if he can't make his way out here and get that track position, that very coveted track position back as he rolls out of his pit box.
All right, so Ty Bostic has elected. Now leader gets the lane choice, so he has elected to start on that outside.
That's a smart play. If I'm in his seat, you know you're going to go up there to rip the wall, so it makes sense to get up there to start this race versus having to work your way up, especially with the speed that the 59 of John DeRougers has had as of late.
The key here is definitely getting a good jump.
It's going to be tough. Paul Irvin and Garrett Walden are going to give them a run for their money. As we go back under green here at Darlington, and he does. Ty Bostic getting a great jump on that high line.
To the 43 of Garrett Walden in that Country Time Lemonade car, tucking in behind him nicely. The 27 up there as well. That's Corey Ennis, who's on the outside of John DeRougers, who falls back to 4th. And now the race begins. You've got 90-plus laps here, and caution flies immediately. Tony Japs and
spoke too soon.
Yep, the 42 and the 97 got some. There's some damage. That 97's got some horrific. I don't think that right front is actually turning on that 97 Aflac.
Yeah, that's a great. I mean, unfortunate that it's banged up, but that is a really cool throwback to the Carl Edwards 09 car, the Aflac car.
I'm afraid he may be done for the day. That's some significant damage.
Yeah, that front end got pushed in and then some. Like you said, the steer. It didn't look like he had too much control over that steering as he was coming down the pit road, but who knows?
All right, so our 4th caution has flown here at lap 55 for an incident with Jeff Ramsdell in the was it the 47, 97, and Tony Japs.
You know, it's interesting. We watched John DeRougers qualify well, and then at the beginning of the first run, he fell back, and almost instantly on this beginning of this run, he falls back, even within the first half a lap. Something there firing off is not working for John D right now, but he does have a ton of speed on the long run, as we saw at the end of the stage. Going to be something that, I mean, is it better to have long run speed here, or is it better to have the short run speed and just get out and get away?
Well, I think it's better to have the long run speed. That's just Rick Souza speaking. I'm thinking it's that way because the having the speed, but more importantly, having the tires towards the end of the long run is going to be key, because you're on, in my opinion, if you're going to run a 50 lap run here, you know, anything after lap 40, you're on glass. I mean, it is just skating around. You're on ice. So,
I absolutely agree. It's definitely one where it doesn't feel good to go backwards, but in the long term situation here at Darlington, it's gonna mean a lot to have that speed late. We've seen races here over the years where last lap passes are a real thing for the win, and you never know. Maybe not the last lap, but late race passing is something that is very commonplace here at Darlington.
so I'm highlighting the 96 of Mike Wheel with Mosh Racing. Uh, Somehow, Mike has the ability, maybe it's a voice to text, but he is commenting in our YouTube chat in the race and has stated it's absolute mayhem in the back. Well, we absolutely saw that. He was involved in that beating and banging earlier. Kept the car pointed in the right direction, but got a little crazy.
I love that. We're like dialing in, being able to get opinions from the drivers here live on the stream. Yeah, it's always the craziest racing happening in the rear. Guys are scratching and clawing for every piece they can get. And hopefully, he doesn't find himself in too much trouble back there, as he's had some speed trying to make his way to the front.
Looks pretty clean, but let's go up front to Ty Bostic as we get this race back underway. He does have the 43 of Garrett Walden in that Country Time Chevrolet just to his inside. 51 of Paul Irvin just behind.
Something else I noticed about Ty Bostic's scheme here as they come back to green is it's Ty Lenore with a dash.
Yeah. Paul Irvin's running that throwback scheme. That's a 2015 Justin Allgaier Brandt scheme.
Yeah, he's running up there on that high line. My goodness, Ty Bostic with a great jump there. It looked like that second row, as that second row developed, they got a little hung up, and Ty's able to get out and away. Garrett Wilson though, gonna get himself, or I'm sorry, Garrett Walden, gonna get himself set up here, up and around Paul Irvin, and he's gonna try to give him a run for his money here. That long run speed is really gonna set itself up here.
Looking back to the 48 of Austin Wheeler, running too wide there in a bit, trying to make it through turn 2 and on the backstretch. A lot of action going on behind. We were just talking, and caution flies again.
And it's just a matter of guys giving each other enough room to make these moves work. 2x2x2. And
not exactly sure why. I did notice that Scott Thomas has gone to the pits. We'll do a quick shot. Let's go back.
Oh yeah, they're just ripping 3 wide through the middle of the corner, Rick. That's what I'm hearing on the drivers' chats and in the driver chat and a few other places. It's just looking like that's the case in some of these caution situations right now. Can't do it. Doesn't work. I promise. It's a tough thing to do.
Oh, there it was. It was.
It's like they come off 3 wide, the exit of the corner. And just not a ton of space to exit, carrying all that speed. A few dip, dodge, duck, dive moves there.
Yeah, I thought it was the that Dale Earnhardt paint scheme that we were just talking about earlier. I think that was Tyler Lem. That was not Tyler. Sorry. Well, I can't tell you where or what happened. All I know is that we're into caution for the 5th time here at lap 61.
Yeah, it's one of these races where patience is a virtue, and a lot of the cautions coming at the rear of the field, guys just trying to be hungry and get that track position that they need to make a late race run. 3 wide is not the way.
Not at Darlington, anyway.
No, there's plenty of opportunities to make it work, though, and I'm confident these guys will get themselves figured for, and we'll get some good green flag laps in like we saw at the end of the first stage there. First stage before the comp caution flew.
All right, lap 61 is in the books. We're under caution here for the 5th time tonight as we battle here. 147 laps here at Darlington.
Big fan of that Corey Ennis car, the 27. That is a old Valvoline. That's a Valvoline scheme. It is
Yep.
the, what is it? Cale Yarborough, 1982 Cale Yarborough Valvoline scheme. We've seen him make his way through the field tonight. There's a few Valvoline schemes out there, but pretty sharp up there on the high side here at Darlington.
I wonder how true that font is to the original paint scheme.
I'm not sure. It looks like it could be from 1968.
Yep, where they just basically took tape and made a number. Took some
It's got the
200-mile-an-hour tape. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just keeping an eye here on the rest of the field as they get themselves caught up. Pace cars pulling off. They'll get ready to go back green. '22 with Ty Bosick gets rolling. We're back under green. 51 of Paul Irvin there had a great restart as well. He got a little bit hung up there on the bottom as he was trying to make a move, but my goodness, just getting a lot of speed on the restart for those two drivers in particular.
John Drew just got into it a little bit, I think, with the 48.
Yeah, just trying to hang on to it there for a minute. He doesn't want to drop back too many spots. He knows he has the long run speed. He just needs to keep it on all fours here until the car gets comfortable for him to drive. He's doing that little blinky action again. We don't want to see that. That's one of the, it's one of the outside effects of the iRacing world. They are going 3 wide into turn 1 a lot.
Yeah.
A lot, Rick. And I keep hearing them shouting at one another over the headset. It's going to be a struggle all night long.
Looking back to the field, I think they're settling down a little bit, at least back now, but stay tuned. It could change in a heartbeat.
I'll tell you what, I'm really enjoying the 28 car of Joseph Moosown, that 2011 Regan Smith Denver Mattress Furniture Row car. Gives me Martin Truex vibes. That was my driver for many, many years, so I always enjoy seeing that black and red scheme with that font. Good looking machine out there. Just real clean. Clean schemes can often be better than some of the more complicated things that we see out here for throwback weekend. As some action happening around the 28 there. They're 3 wide, 2 wide.
Three. We're still 3 wide here.
Fanned
Down on
out
the
all
apron. Oh, contact right there and spins the Tide machine.
Oh, and the Valvoline car, the 72 is going around. He's in the inside wall. We'll bring out a caution. Doesn't look like it.
Yet. He's got it pointed in the right direction. Caution did not fly. I think that was the initial contact that we saw with that number 5.
Not a lot of guys going to be going out to get a beer with each other after this race. I
think there will be some strong words to be discussed at some point.
It feels that way. I thought we were done with strong words after Martinsville. I thought we could move on from the strong words, but very fierce competitive racing here tonight. Oh, 97 coming out of the pit. Got some of that damage fixed up. He had still a lot on that car.
3 wide again. Going back to Mike Wheel, Matt Crockett.
The temperature is rising.
What's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, Rick.
Exactly.
And that is what is happening.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't want to miss some of this action in the back because they're just beating and banging the whole way around.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that action being back there. A lot of the leaders here are in a league of their own, racing out far away from each other, gapped out. But these guys back here are running a tight race. Too tight.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to make it around. Coming out of 2, you've gotta have your line right. And when you're too wide, man, that just makes it that much tougher.
Strong words will be exchanged. I'm sure of it.
Looking back to the number 50 of Martin Giroux, little Davey Allison. Look, that may not be the Davey Allison version. No, yeah, it is. 92 Davey Allison car.
There were a lot of those Havoline cars for many, many years. They all kind of look similar, but those black, red, and yellow schemes, they're very iconic.
Plus, we got a number of drivers subsing after Davey's passing who wound up driving that car.
Yep. I have one of those diecasts here in the house. I cannot remember who the driver is. I know it's not Davey Allison, so it's one of the cast of drivers that came in after him. A 42 of Tony Jackson, the 1990 Kyle Petty Pete car, looking good out there on the track. I thought that was an Exide Batteries car for a minute as we were watching it go by. It's got similar colors, but not quite. Gets into the wall. He's leaving a little bit of that color on the wall. And still some good 2x2 racing in the field here. The 28 and the 17 side by side. The 52 and the 88 side by side. Oh, contact.
Where at?
They're wrecking down there at the exit of turn 2. There's a caution.
Caution is out.
Just so happened to click through it there as I was scrolling through the field.
See the 52 of Gary Wells underway, but with some significant damage on that Chevrolet.
Yeah, he took a pretty heavy shot to the left side of the car there. The wall just kind of broadsiding it. Hopefully he was able to, make that contact in a place where he doesn't get his steering all bent out of whack. But
it doesn't look like, I could be wrong, but I think that the alignment of that car is jacked.
Yeah, it's oh yeah, he's
kind of crab walking a bit.
Yeah, he's crab walking it back, fighting it down.
We're going to take a quick look at that while these drivers are going into the pits to get some tires and some fuel. Let's go back and see if we can see just what happened to the 52 of Gary Wells.
Yeah, it's just one of these 2x2 deals again. Guys are fighting for that spot on the racetrack to exit and carry that momentum. The 88 looked like he slipped and slid up there a little bit just into the 52. It happens so easy. Oh, the back bumper of the 52 getting blown off. The 88 barreling through him there.
52's definitely got some significant damage.
I don't think they'll be sending each other Christmas cards this year, Rick.
I know. I think that opportunity has passed. That's gone. That ship has sailed.
Yeah, that's Richard Mills in the 1980 Darrell Waltrip Gatorade throwback. That's the second time we've seen the 88 in the mix under a yellow flag here. So,
yep.
Hard racing as they're trying to make things work.
All right, see the 52 trying to get some repairs made. His team is making some repairs to that car, but after that round of pit stops, the 22 of Ty Bostic did not come out, and that means we have a new leader. That's going to be Austin Wheeler, who will be our control car. Let's bring up that lineup so we can get some idea. So just past the halfway point here at the Goodyear 200 at Darlington. We thank you for tuning in to the IWM Broadcast Network of the iNRS Racing Series.
It has been a lot of fun here tonight so far, Rick. I don't know. It's been fun for us up here in the booth to see some of this action.
Yeah,
I
I
hear
would.
a lot of chatter about black flags and beating and banging in the driver's voice chat right now. They are getting after it. A lot of strong feelings here tonight.
It's like
I
that
love it.
that three of Ron Fittings kind of really hanging back there on that outside line.
Yeah, he's not in a rush to jump the start there. As my goodness, yeah, way out and away.
Yep, that
Boy,
gave.
you hear some screeching going on in the middle of the field there. The 12 and the 51 into it. The 25 off the pace a bit. They kept it all straight, but there's a
Oh,
very
for the 31 of Alex Murphy, he spun around.
yeah, from the top to the bottom. He's got pieces coming off that car.
Caution did not come out, but he's got some significant damage.
Yikes. Yeah, that thing is beat up. There comes the caution now. Not sure if it's for that 31 or maybe there was a separate incident. Heads up play there by the 31 to keep it out of the pit.
Richard Mills was also involved. See just what happened to Richard.
There, yeah, he's still spun around there, figuring it out on track.
And we've seen the 88 involved. Or Austin Walton had something going on. So let's take a quick look at that, just not to belabor it.
Oh boy. Yeah, looks like the 5 getting caught up here with the 8 trying to make something happen, and
Yep, I think the 5 just got into the 88.
a check-up kind of a deal there.
Yep, kind of drifted up, and unfortunately the 50, that's Martin Giroux, he gets by. Now the 88's really out of control. Here comes the 42.
Yeah, just nowhere to go.
36.
17 going to get into him here as well.
Yep.
Nowhere to go on the top of the track.
But what happened to
The 31 that was the one
31?
that
Yeah.
thing, he come down from that top wall like he was late for school in the morning or something. He was
Well, there he is right there.
That's him coming around avoiding that's him after his wreck trying to get out of pit road so he doesn't enter a closed pit road. He had already taken the damage by this point, I think, Rick.
Let's try to go back a little bit and just see what happened. We'll stay with the 31.
Yeah, I think even here too. I mean, I saw him come down and hit that wall in the front left quarter panel, absolutely obliterated off of that car. And it's what we talked about earlier. 34 there.
94. Oh,
94.
looks like he tagged the 81 just a little bit. Unfortunately, he caught that inside retaining wall.
Yeah, that's a tough deal to be in.
All right, here we are at lap 80. So the two drivers who stayed out, that's Austin Wheeler and Jay Schultz. They pitted last on lap 51. They'll be 1 and 2 on this restart. But everybody else, and I mean everybody else, came in on lap 74. So they're on 23 lap newer tires.
Yeah, Jay Schultz in that he's our second Valvoline scheme out here on track tonight.
That's correct. Yep.
Not confusing at all. That's a 1998 Mark Martin Valvoline throwback. One of the best looking schemes of all time. Unfortunately, he is running the 72, the number, but that 6 font on that car when it ran was just absolutely one of the best of all time.
Yep, got a pretty good affinity with Roush Racing. Some of my family members were engine builders for Roush.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. So, yeah, big fan.
Giving Mark Martin all the power he needed in those in that time. Hopefully.
Absolutely.
That program has come a long way over the years and has always found success. Pace car is off. We'll see this front row. See if he can keep up.
Great jump by Austin Wheeler.
Yeah, that bottom line got a big move, and that, you know, that 72 just with those older tires, going to be more difficult for him to get rolling on the restart. He seems to be getting his way around here now, but lost a few spots. They're playing nice in the middle pack, the middle back here. Only 2x2 for now.
Watching Garrett Walden there try to make his way up. He is the first car that was repeated last on lap 74. He's right there on the bumper of Austin Wheeler trying to get around.
And he is going to press and push him to make a mistake here, to take the lead. Taking a peek, took a peek to the inside there, wanted to see what he was made of, but still trying to close that gap down. Going to be interesting to see the strategy he takes to try to gain back some of that track position. We've seen drivers kind of hug the apron, trying to cut down that angle and cut their distance. The trick to that is that, ooh, there he goes, trying to take a look to the outside as Austin Wheeler kind of stays down low.
A little bit of contact
there a little bit.
Yeah, that's not going to help. That'll just take it just enough to break your momentum, but he had a full head of steam.
He's fighting back from it, though. These two guys are duking it out up here for track lap times as they're trying to chase each other around here at Darlington.
They both ran the proverbial perfect line coming out of 2 that last time by. You can hit those marks every time. You know, no one can stop you.
Yep. Walden seems like he keeps peeking up to the top the last few laps here just to see if he can squeeze Austin Wheeler into a position where he might be able to get a run on him.
There he goes.
Yeah, chose to go on the low side, though. That's smart on his part. This is the way to pass here. The slide job coming up. He'll wash up right ahead of Austin Wheeler and take over here at Darlington.
So new leader, Garrett Walden, moves that 43 Country Time Lemonade car out to the front here. Lap 87. Just 60 laps to go here at Darlington in the iNRS Racing Series.
The laps have ticked off really quickly here now as we've gotten some good green flag runs in, despite a few caution flags. Leaders running one by one, but there's still a lot of great side-by-side action here throughout the pack as drivers are fighting for position.
Jumping back to, this is a battle for 10th with the Corey bunch, and behind them is just, I think Mike Wheel said it is mayhem.
It is pandemonium back there. It's like that every exit. We see drivers in this very fanned out fashion.
So 2x2, 28 right on the bumper.
That 96 car able to escape a bit. A little bit of breathing. Never a bad feeling to have some breathing room at Darlington. Oh, no. Wow, yeah, no. Fanning out. Fanning out again.
3 wide nearly there.
I'm not sure if that's a necessary move because of them washing up and getting loose, or if it's just one where they're trying to get a good look around their competitors. I have a feeling it's a product of what's happening to the tires underneath of them as they go through the exit.
Most of these drivers pitted last on lap 74. Of course, we've had a few cautions, so really they're 25 or so lap old tires, but they probably got. It's probably not running like 25 lap old tires.
Yeah, some are trying to get a little look-ski-peek-ski around as we. Ooh, wow, that was a big jump down to the bottom there.
That was a 96 again.
Yep.
2 wide with the 46 down below the 94 of Michael Whitley.
Contact. You see little puffs of smoke coming up off the wall.
Yeah, I think there's about a third of the field that still hasn't found their way out of turn 2.
Yeah, there's certainly a rhythm here you have to get into, and it is not one that's easy to really figure out. And by the time you do figure it out, the tire's slipping and sliding underneath of you so much that you got to figure it out all over again.
72 up in the wall.
He's fallen back quite a ways since restarting toward the front of the field.
Yep, that's Jay Schultz.
Just like you're watching along with on the broadcast here with bated breath, just like you are at home in the YouTube chat, waiting for that next moment, because it feels like we're constantly building up to it. Oh, there's some smoke.
More drivers contacting that. So we don't want to miss what's happening up front. Let's go back. Garrett Walden is currently still our leader, and he's kind of got a little bit of a gap now with clean air between himself, about just over a second in front of Dakota LaRue.
Yeah, and Austin Wheeler was up there in P2 last time we checked in at the front. And LaRue and Bostic have made their way into second and third now. We saw a lot of speed from Ty Bostic all day today here at Darlington, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see him try to make a late run, that late run speed. Dakota LaRue led a lot of laps here already tonight, so the cream rises to the top, and these fast guys are staying quick.
Gonna kind of run through while we've got some time, just some paint schemes here. That's the 51 of Paul Irvin. Got the 59 of John DeRudris.
Yeah, that Gordon scheme. Good looking car.
25 of Jacob Musso in that One Main Financial. Now the interesting one is Corey Bunch. See, he's riding that Pilot Flying J paint scheme, but that's not so much a throwback as it is a personal throwback. He's running a car that was his first sim car.
That's really cool. That's a unique twist on throwback weekend for Corey Bunch.
Yeah, the 81. I think he wins the award for the oldest paint scheme, right?
Yeah, it looks like that's the 1968 David Pearson team. There's a couple of really old school ones in here. The 53 of Rob Maldonado running a scheme from 84. Not quite back, not quite as old as the 60s, but there's some older schemes through the field.
Lucas Whitehead in the 33, is that's old Dale Earnhardt inspired scheme.
Peter Max 2000 Dale Earnhardt.
So for those of you who may not be familiar with Peter Max, back in the day, Peter Max is an artist, and he did a lot of, you can Google Peter Max and see, he did a lot of NASCAR inspired portraits of drivers, and was able to capture some of the action on track, and had a unique style of how he painted with the colors and put that all together. And so there was a paint scheme that he did for Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah, it looks like a color palette now that you're talking about all the different array of colors we see on that car. Brush strokes, paint blotches. It's really something unique and different. You'd never expect to see Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator, running in a car that looked quite like that, but it's a good look.
So right behind him, you got Jonathan Bernoskis in the 9 in that
Elliott Sadler M&M's car. Not the Kyle Busch M&M's car, the Elliott Sadler M&M's car. Got to throw us for a loop.
There you go. And the 12 behind him, that's Eric Jeffers in that Verizon paint scheme. That's a Justin Allgaier scheme.
Yeah, that's a throwback there. Cool looking scheme. Not one I'm super familiar with, but clean nonetheless.
We featured this one before. That's Tyra Lem in the 99. Got to get a better shot of that car.
Cheese it out back, Tony the Tiger up front. It's a combo of delicious treats. Give him a lot. It would have been real. As we see some action there. The 7 looked like he got around. Caleb Lamb. That's another product of that 3-wide racing.
Caution did not fly.
Wow. And he took a walloping on the inside wall there.
It's about to take another.
Back up on track. Where's he going?
Hopefully to the pits, but he just missed his entry. There's definitely some big right front damage on that number 7.
Okay, he's down on the apron here now. Looks like he's going to get it back around to pit road. That was a scary moment there as he cleared up in front of a couple other drivers that were going through more smoke in the distance. Oh, man.
I have no idea what just happened. I think Martin Giroux. Yep, Martin Giroux went around in the 50. He's also underway. Caution does come out for the spin by Martin Giroux.
The radio chatter is picking up. There's a lot going on here. Wow.
Well, you can always move a driver if that's what it takes.
That's difficult. That's a difficult move to be on the receiving end of. For the 50 right there.
All right, so caution flies here, the 8th time tonight at lap 105 rather.
Goodness gracious, it is just a game of survival the last 2 laps here. There was a lot happening on the track between that initial incident we saw as we were running through some of those throwbacks, and quite a few things happening there.
Yep. I expect the entire field will be down here. This is a good time to come down, which will leave them with about 42 laps. So this could be conceivably your last stop of the day.
Yeah, we could see them run all the way to the green, or run green all the way to the finish here. If everybody can keep their shirts on and stay out of the wall. That 97 car getting fixed up a little at a time as I see him coming down pit road. Little at a time, one brick at a time. Looks like 59 there too of John DeRugers took a little damage. Everybody's got a little front nose damage. Oh, are they wrecking at the entrance to pit road there?
Yeah, it appears there seems to be some chaos on pit entry.
Oh boy, a little bit of miscommunication there. The water barrel's getting the worst of that deal.
All right, looks like we are headed back out on the track. Here, lap 105. Dakota LaRue finds himself back up front with what looks to be a fairly clean race car. He doesn't seem to have any damage. I don't think there are many competitors out here with clean cars.
Yeah, there's not a lot of cars out here that don't have at least 1 or 2 battle scars on them here tonight. One of a few who seems to have gotten around here relatively unscathed. We'll see how long that lasts. And there's Ty Bostic and a few other familiar faces surfacing back up here to the front that we've seen in past weeks.
Yep, Jordan Wenzel back up, Corey Bunch, Jacob Musa.
Interesting to see here on this restart. We talked about drivers who weren't exactly firing off quick, but had long run speed. It is a tight pack. We saw drivers missing shifts on restarts earlier. Going to be a tough deal to make sure we all keep our shorts on and get through the restart here, as tempers are hot, tensions are high. It's Darlington, too tough to tame, Rick. This is a good one.
Absolutely. We'll ride on board with Paul Irvin during this this restart. Get a driver's perspective at this restart.
Yeah, this will be a good one too. Ball's been quick all night here. Under green we are. Away we go. You see him just finding that sweet spot where he knows he can wrap that bottom there, making sure he's not washing up into Ty Bostic.
That outside line really is the way to go. See the 59 of John Durgis try to get under him.
Yeah, he is sniffing up his back bumper in a hurry. 59, we talked about earlier, qualified well, has had struggles on the restarts, but he's pushing the pace here.
This is really the sprint here towards the finish. You've got just under 38 laps to go here. And these laps tick by in a heartbeat. The typical time is about 30 seconds to get around this track. If they stay green, this race could be over in 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, and I think a lot of guys up here at the front want to see exactly that happen. They've had good runs all night tonight. A lot of the calamity has kind of ensued middle back. But it'll be interesting to see if everybody can keep it together here. Some really good racing happening.
22 of Ty Bostic doing his darndest to get back around the 18 of Dakota LaRue.
Yeah, he's really pushing it, finding that line up on the middle high side. Getting a great exit there, following LaRue around. He's closing that gap.
Don't want to miss out on some great action happening just behind them. You know, all part of the top 10. But they're too wide. The 99 of Tyra Lem in the wall there.
Everybody just trying to keep their composure on the exits to some of these corners. Making it work one way or another. 12 laps down there. Looking for a place to pass here around the 12 and the 25.
25 is basically wall riding, almost like the watermelon man for a second there.
Yeah. Yeah, he felt that 99 coming to his inside there, and I think he got up out of it a bit. Saw a car way back in the back of the field down on the apron, but nothing serious, it seems.
Battle right there with the 9 of Jonathan Bernauskas and getting around the 59. 59 slipping back a little bit now in 6th place.
Yeah, looks like he's in a position here to lose another spot to that Peter Max schemed throwback. John D's got a lot of damage on the front of that car, so it's going to be tougher for him to drive that thing the way he was throughout the race earlier.
Definitely some nose damage there as Lucas Whitehead tries to slip underneath. Got the 77 of Corey Bunch behind.
Corey looks like he's ready to go. He has that car on a string, trying to get from the top to the bottom to the top, as these two guys are just kind of clogging up the lane for him to make a respectful and responsible move to pass.
Which has kind of set up the guys behind them.
Sure has. Sure has. He lost a spot there, Corey Bunch, as he was trying to set himself up.
Back up front, Ty Bostic is right there, but don't look too far back because Jordan Wenzel has now closed the gap behind, and for third is now right there.
And if you're Jordan Wenzel, you are loving what you are seeing in front of you, that these two cars are trying to battle one another. It's given him the opportunity to get back in this thing and have a fighting chance, not just for a podium finish, but for a win. Yeah, this is going to be a battle to the finish here. These three cars are very fast.
Number of drivers who are either in the pits or retired. Mike Wheel, he's trying to get repaired. He believes his night is done. He's got some broken tooling. That's the 96. We spotlighted him earlier. Garrett Walden is in the pits. In the 43, he's got some damage there. Shane Trotter in the 38. Christopher Cash
And
And
that
also
59.
out the 16 of Lucas Cortman, last week's winner, and Clark Grant's Liberty also out.
Yes, checking back on some of the action here. The 59 of John DeRugeris, he is just falling back. He is like sinking like a stone with that nose damage. The 99 and the 77 all making light work of getting around him on the bottom here. Trying to fight it off, but it's definitely been a backwards move for the 59 since the restart here.
Back up front, Dakota LaRue continues to lead with Ty Bostic and Jordan Wenzel battling and staying right there with not many laps to go. Now we're down to 27, 28 laps to go.
Yeah, and it's tough because it's what kind of move, what do you have for the competitors ahead of you if you're in second or third place here? It's a tough track to really, throw something at the wall and make it stick. Gonna see cars try to drive tighter, higher to the top of the track against the wall. That's where the speed's gonna be. How much tire do they have to do that? We've seen them kind of split the middle, hug the bottom there on the entry, and then float up. But the higher you can float and the more speed you can carry, the better runoff you'll get on the other side. So we'll see how it all works out. Jordan Wenzel seems to have it figured for himself a little bit as he's closing the gap a touch here every lap. Certainly coming into the closing stages here. Oh, Jordan trying to get to the top. Gets the top.
A little bit of contact there. He's trying to figure out a way to get around the 22.
Ooh, there he goes.
There he goes.
22 might have had a little action against the wall there too to slow him down as well. LaRue just driving away from them at this point, but Wenzel does get that spot.
Now he sets his eyes on the 18, but the 18 has got a pretty good bit of a gap. Now with just 26 laps to go.
Yeah, still enough time to be patient and outweight your opponent if you're Jordan Wenzel. You never know what that driver's doing in front of you, and if you can force them into a mistake or wait for them to make that little bit of an error, there's definitely time. There's definitely time. We see that happen once in a while where leaders will get in their heads a little bit trying to make that speed to fight off that second place driver, and who knows? But it'll sure be interesting to find out how this one plays out in the next 25.
Yep, and just looking at that track map, there's a pretty good chance these drivers will find themselves dealing with lap traffic.
Looks like he's coming up on a few cars here now as lap traffic is just getting through the start-finish area, sailing it into turn one. Interesting to see how that'll play out.
Yep, looking out the front windshield of the 18 of Dakota LaRue as he comes up quickly, and the driver drops out.
The right and respectful move by the lap car to spend some time down there on the apron, let these guys race it out.
Dakota's not taking it easy. He is definitely still digging. He's doing a great job of running that high line.
Absolutely.
Kind of diving through 1 and 2 very nicely.
Yeah, he's got something figured out here that other drivers do not. 'Cause it's not the first time we've seen him up here at the front leading laps, and not just leading, but leading out and away from some of the other drivers once he can get clear. So he's got a few tricks up his sleeve here.
Notice he did not shift at all. He stayed in 4th gear. Only in 5th gear for just a tad.
Yeah, that's something that might be giving him an advantage here. It's a little bit of a different shift point for him than some of the other drivers tonight. The longer you can stay in that 4th gear, the more more speed you can get down on the track.
And take advantage of the engine torque to slow the car down, coming through 1 and 2.
Absolutely. Fall takes a little blip into fifth and back. He's got it. He's got it dialed in.
All right, ran a couple laps there with Dakota LaRue as he made his way around. Learned a little bit from Dakota as he really went after tonight.
Jordan Wenzel making up some good time, trying to get to Dakota LaRue, but the gap has certainly closed, but there is still a gap. Unfortunate for the 22 Ty Bosick, who was really running a strong race up there in P2. I don't think he'll be too disappointed, though, if things stay the way they are, but still 19 laps to go. We're a long way from thinking about that.
Going back to the field, once we get past these guys, go back to the 51 of Paul Irvin, who is just making his way around behind Paul. Sitting in fifth is Lucas Whitehead.
Yeah.
As the field pretty much spreads out across the track.
Yeah, we saw a lot of 2x2 action middle back most of this race, and it seems like that kind of stuff has really thinned out as different strategies, different tires, different lines have forced these drivers to run kind of on an island amongst one another out here.
Yeah, looking back, there's not a lot of. You see Matt Crockett and Joe Musso here. They're running together. Michael Whitley, and this group. This seems to be the biggest group. That's the 59 of John D. The 94 of Michael Whitley. There, you got Simon Magin in the 46. Oh, Caleb Lamb may have just.
Okay. I heard somebody hollering for a caution down there.
Caution is out. Not exactly sure just what happened and where.
There was some shouting going on for a second, but I didn't see it on my screen either.
Some damage to the nose of that 52, but no telling when that occurred. We'll just try to get a feel on this caution, see if we can. I'm not sure if this was. It often happens sometimes. These drivers kind of loop it around coming out of pit road. Oh, speak of the devil.
There you go. Let's see here. He backs it up.
That may have brought it out, but with that, though, everybody is coming down pit road.
Yeah, it's a new race now. 16, 15 to go by the time they get going here. It's going to be a new race. The tire strategy here, Rick, is going to be a big deal. How much have you saved? How much can you afford to do? Do you get 4 tires? Do you take the gamble? It's going to be some big bravery to make those decisions here.
We're watching our in-race telemetry just to see what happens here. See if anybody we can see are taking 2 tires.
Not advised here, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody throws a Hail Mary and sees what they can do. A couple cars staying out. For the time being, at least.
Everybody that we see, it's a 4-tire stop.
Okay, I love that. It'll be a fun shootout here to the end. All these fresh sets on the track.
All right, everybody who was on the lead lap has made their stops. Number of drivers who were lap or laps down, they are in the pits. See the 18 trying to get a little bit of heat in those tires.
Yeah, just give it a little shake. Try to get a little extra grip out of it while you can.
I've always been on the fence whether it actually does work in iRacing or not. But,
I feel like a couple updates ago they said it did, but I think it's for good luck anyway, just in case. They're wrong. There's a lot of banged up race cars, even at the front of this race.
Yep.
There's
Number of drivers who we typically see up front, like Corey Bunch, who's not there.
He was involved in an incident tonight as well.
Yep, he's actually still in the pits trying to elicit repairs. Not sure what the condition is of that 77.
The 43 as well, still in the pit. A driver we saw put the moves on to get to the lead.
Now, this is the restart. This is where for all the marbles here if this stays green.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. They'll have everything and then some to make it to the end. So it's just a matter of if everyone can keep it in one piece and go in the right direction as we get restarted and back underway here at Darlington.
Good move by the 18 of Dakota LaRue. Takes that opportunity to lead this pack and jumps up to the outside, putting him out in front of the 81 of Jordan Wenzel.
And this is a dangerous Jordan Wenzel who's had all this time to sit behind Dakota LaRue and see how he's running this race. Now, both of them on the same set of tires. It's really a battle of driver skill here as they come back around here. Jordan closing the gap a little bit.
Of course, this is always an opportunity. We're at the tail end of the race. Drivers may gamble a bit, try to improve their position, but it's a risk-reward.
Yeah, for sure. And it's definitely one of these deals where you have to still be cautious about, is it, 3 wide there for a moment, the 59, the 33, and the 12. As the 59 car, John DeRuger is just, again, something in the front of that car with that front nose damage is, it's a sail on the front of that car, and he is just not really able to keep it where he wants it right now. Unfortunately. Unfortunate for him after a good night qualifying.
A lot of 2 wide racings at the 21 beneath him now as he tries to continue. We're now currently in 13th, 12th, 13th position. But back up front, Dakota LaRue putting up a smoking time, 29:32. That was his best time of the race that last lap.
Yeah, we got a couple of fast race cars up there at the front racing for position. It's Wenzel and Bostic again. Looking like a copy of last time as they were out here, but Jordan Wenzel able to keep with him even though Dakota LaRue is setting that fast lap time of the night.
Ty Bostic just put up his fastest time of the night, a 29:28, which was just what Dakota LaRue put up, a 29:28. So these guys are running the fastest laps of the day right here with 9 laps to go.
Hauling the mail. It is happening. I mean, they've had all this time to kind of get comfortable here and understand where the fast parts of this racetrack are. And now on these newer tires, I'm not surprised that at this stage of the race, we see some of the fastest times of the day.
The track has cooled off a little bit. It's now under 100 degrees. That probably isn't hurting them as well.
Probably not. That's a big swing from where we started the day. Track temp was 118 when we got rolled off. So almost a 20 degree shift here on track temp. Definitely going to give these guys some more grip, give them a little more confidence. You see the shadow?
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. There was some longer afternoon shadows here in Darlington.
Yeah, not a lot of ways this track cools down. But that is one of them as the sun starts to sink. Dakota LaRue absolutely just, I mean, is it too early to say he's putting on a clinic? Because he has absolutely been out at the front today. I mean, not the entire race, but once he's out there and up there, it is his race to command.
So he's led 80 laps. Ty Bostic has led 39. So between the two of them, nearly 120 of these laps led.
Yeah, these guys know what they're doing. That is for certain. As we have 5 to go, we come around this time. We came around this last time, I should say. The white knuckle driving starts now. This is it. Your spotter comes over the radio. 5 to go. Hope those seat belts are tight.
Give him an extra little tug.
Yeah, that's it. Not a ton of two wide driving.
No,
anymore.
and at this point, it's really about making mistakes. If you can keep your car off the wall, if you can stay focused on your shift points, on your not braking, but your throttle points, here you'll do fine. It's where you maybe focus on something else. Mistakes happen, and your race changes.
Absolutely, and that's the tricky part as cars try to find their place in line here and get in line. Everybody looks like they're in a good position here, though, to finish this one out.
I think there's a little bit of we had some denial. I think now we're down to acceptance.
They're going through all the stages of Darlington grief. Some grief, some will be Darlington victory. Darlington
we had some
happiness.
anger early on, but now we're right to acceptance.
Getting through it. We're getting through it all. The 19 to 53 battling it out. They don't seem like they're done with each other just yet.
Nope, these guys are still too wide. This is battling for 15th with John Ledger and Robin Maldonado.
As they come down here through these corners, they are looking for as much speed as they can get.
Backer probably don't want to lose the leader of Dakota LaRue because he's about to take a white flag.
This is it. This is the one he's been waiting for. It's been his race all night long. No matter what happens next, he certainly deserves this. Checker running here at Darlington. It is not an easy track to figure out. It is not an easy track to run this well, this consistently all night long, and he's going to bring that Hooters machine to victory lane.
Just one more turn as he races towards that start-finish line to take the checker here at Darlington.
What a great race by Dakota LaRue. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, it was just absolutely just out in front and away in that clean air. It was his car drove different, like he was driving something that everybody else didn't have.
Yeah, I think if you go back and analyze it, which I'm sure each of these drivers will, they can really just absolutely be just how he approached getting through turns 1 and 2. That made he was by far the most consistent for doing that.
Yeah, that's where consistency pays. Telemetry data will be something these guys are going to want to look back at and see where they can improve for next time. Oh, these guys are beating and banging coming into pit road to finish this one too. Showing some displeasure with one another, maybe?
Possibly, yeah.
Possible.
All right, I think race results are in. Let's go ahead and bring those up. All right, start us off.
All right, we've got Dakota LaRue, your winner. Oh, hold on. Sorry, Rick. Okay, sorry. Dakota LaRue, your winner. Jordan Wenzel, P2. Ty Bostic bringing it in third place. Paul Irvin in fourth. Lucas Whitehead finishes fifth. Jonathan Vernauskas in sixth. Eric Jeffers, seventh. Simon Magin in eighth place. John D ends up bringing it home with a top 10 in ninth. Jacob Musal in 10th. Tyler Lem in 11th. Michael Whitley Jr., 12th. Matt Crockett in 13th place. Joe Musal in 14th. John Ledger in 15th. Robin Maldonado in 16th. And Ron Fitting in 17th place.
All right, in 18th, you've got Josh Douglas, 19th, Austin Walton. Jay Schultz finishes in 20th, Corey Ennis in 21st, Mike Campeggio in 22nd, Scott Thomas 23rd, Bradley Reese in 24th. We've got in 25th, Tony Japs, Richard Mills in 26th, Mike Wheel in 27th, Alex Murphy in 28th, Corey Bunch in 29th, and Jeff Ramsdell finishes in 30th.
Yeah, Gary Wells in 31st, Caleb Lamb coming up behind him in 32nd, Vince Burns in 33rd, Garrett Walden in 34th, Martin Giroux in 35th, Shane Trotter 36th place, Austin Wheeler in 37th, Christopher Cash 38th, Lucas Gortman in 39th, Clark Franz in 40th, Eddie Musal Jr. in Oh, Eddie Moosehow, we're at 40. Sorry, Rick. I'm just reading away. I would have read anything. It's like
Yeah.
Anchorman. I'll read whatever you put in front of me. Sorry about that.
Yeah, those last two drivers, unfortunately, they did not make the cut.
Yeah.
All right, so with that, let's see what we've got here. Looking for, let's bring in Mr. Ty Bostic into the broadcast booth. Ty, congratulations, you survived Darlington.
That I did.
Man,
What was that? What was
Go
that
ahead.
race like for you, Ty? We saw you running at the front of the pack for a while and kind of, coming and going. What really unlocked your success at the front tonight after all that mayhem going on?
Like you said, being up near the front, obviously when you're in the mid pack, backpack in this place, it's a hornet's nest. So just starting up the front and staying in that general area kind of help keep it up there.
Yeah, for sure. You did an awesome job keeping it up there at the front. Love the Batman scheme too, by the way. Great throwback.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw you did a great job kind of avoiding any of those incidents. Not a lot of cars are going to get put up on their haulers without a lot of damage here.
You can't go to Darlington and not bring a couple stripes home with you.
I think you did pretty good tonight. Certainly, if anything, I would just use the word consistency. You led a lot of laps, but you were running up front. You didn't have any mistakes on pit road. Just a great overall finish.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I usually try to go for at this place. You stay in 80, 90% of your pace and trying to keep those stripes to a minimum. Usually is the best way to get success here.
Any
What do
shout
you,
outs? Go ahead.
Sorry. One more question for me. What do you take away from a track like Darlington when you get ready for something like Bristol next week?
Absolutely nothing. The tracks don't translate very well, so I mean, just going to scrap it and start new for next week.
All right, I love it. That's awesome.
All right,
other than trying to survive.
Another track, another survival situation.
Correct.
Shout outs tonight, Ty.
Of course. Shout out to y'all putting on a great broadcast. The league. It's always a great time running with all these guys and my two teammates, John and John.
There you go, John. John D finished in 9th, and John Ledger in 15th. So all in the top 15.
Solid run for teammates, yeah.
There you go. All right, that's Ty Bostic, our third place finisher, and with that, we'll bring in Mr. Jordan Wenzel, who tried his hardest to make it up there and chase after Dakota, but second place, Jordan, not bad.
Yeah, I didn't expect that with the way the night was going. I thought I was probably going to be finishing top 15, top 20 when I did that strategy of staying out, and it didn't really matter either because we didn't get those, or we didn't have cautions like I thought we were going to have. So
no, the cautions were it was so interesting as obviously we're broadcasting, we're seeing what's happening at the front, but where the crazy action was spot 20th and back.
Yeah,
they were wild,
beating each other's doors off back there.
Yeah, I imagine. When I was back there, I felt like I was just stuck in traffic, so I wanted to get out of it as soon as possible.
Yeah, no, I definitely can appreciate that. Certainly, you saw a lot of action back there, and just that last, we had those late cautions that did ensue. But you guys, we were watching both yourself and Dakota. You really had it down, coming through turn 1 and 2. You really, you ran like the perfect lines repetitively.
Yeah, he just freaking had it locked down tonight. I tried to get to his bumper. I tried to get underneath him, and it just could not. I couldn't grip off of the corner, so I just ended up burning my tires trying to pass him and stuck. I got stuck in second. It's still a great day, especially since I was way back there at 18th at one point.
Oh yeah.
We find you in this doing these interviews with us quite a bit this year so far. So not a rough deal for you, even though you didn't get the win. Anything you're looking forward to for Bristol next week?
Oh, Bristol's one of my favorite tracks. I won there in the fall last year. I hopefully can repeat that here in the spring. And then we get a week off. Actually, that's the crazy thing, is the week off being this early in the season.
Yeah. Usually it's been in the July timeframe, but hey, we'll take it.
I kind of wish it was still in that one. That way I could have a little bit more of like a mid-season break, but it's all right. We'll keep pushing forward.
There you go. Any shout outs tonight, Jordan?
I got to shout out to the league, you guys, Michael for putting on these paint scheme races. As it's a lot of fun to make them. It's a lot of fun to race them and see everybody participating in them. It's just awesome. I got to shout out all the guys that raced me clean here. I don't remember who it was, but I'm pretty sure that coming off a 2 once, my right rear or left rear knocked somebody into the inside fence, so I gotta apologize to them. But it was, yeah, gotta thank everybody. They're awesome.
All right, that's your second place finisher, Jordan Wenzel here at Darlington, and with that, we'll bring in Mr. Dakota LaRue into the broadcast booth, our winner today here at Darlington. Dakota, congratulations.
Thank you.
We were talking with Jordan and with Ty. You really, we were just remarking with the laps you led. You really had it figured out.
Yeah, the car felt pretty good overall. I did the first stage. I was expecting more caution, so I didn't pit on the first caution there, and ended up kind of getting stuck back in the field and had to work my way back up.
What was the secret tonight as you were getting through 1 and 2? Is it just the way you approached that corner? You felt so comfortable in the car that you were able to push it where other people weren't? I mean, you kind of put on a clinic there at the end as you just drove away and put a gap between yourself and the field at certain points of that race.
I feel like I kind of found a different shifting point that worked a little better for me, and it ended up paying off.
Awesome.
Yeah, we did take a quick peek while and kind of rode along with you and saw you only were you kept it in fourth gear pretty much for the majority of the way around, just I think on the backstretch, a little bit of blip back into fifth, but dialed it back to fourth to you leverage that engine braking, but keeping it on fifth, running up against the chip out of one into one, and then diamonding through 1 and 2 was just perfect.
Yeah, overall, I felt pretty good tonight. I just feel like I made a couple of mistakes I need to work on.
Well, you could have fooled us. You just you really drove a great race. So congratulations on your win. Any shout outs tonight?
I want to give a shout out to Grease Monkey Garage. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't even be racing currently or in the league.
Congratulations on your finish. Now, next week we move on to Bristol. Thoughts for Bristol?
I don't know how I feel about Bristol. Martinsville didn't go so well for me. That was the first race I've had in the league, and it was pretty rough. I can't remember quite where I finished there, but I'm pretty sure I got wrecked out.
Well, I don't think I think there are very few drivers who came away from Martinsville with a good story to tell. So you are among a good company there. So. Well, we'll see how it goes. Again, congratulations on your win tonight, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you very much.
Got it. Sal, any kind of closing thoughts tonight?
Just a great race to watch and be a part of the broadcast of tonight here. It was a good time seeing all these throwback cars out here at Darlington, a track that is truly tough to tame, and we saw that in every stage of the race tonight. But good on these guys, Dakota LaRue, Jordan Wenzel, and Ty Bostic for finishing the way they did 1, 2, and 3. I'm excited for Bristol. It's a fun race. I'll be watching from the stands next week, but I'm excited to see these guys get out there and run the best short track, in my humble opinion, on the schedule this year.
Got it.
You're right.
Completely agree. All right. So for the folks here at IWM and the folks at iNASCAR Racing Series, we thank you for tuning in and look forward to seeing you next week as we bring this whole group of drivers over to Bristol. So for tonight, good night, and we'll see you soon. Thanks again.